Hello and welcome. Happy Easter, everybody. I hope you're having a great Easter morning. Thank you for joining us here at Earth and Sky. Those of you joining us online, I really appreciate you spending your Sunday Easter morning with us, or maybe you're watching the broadcast later in the day. Either way, I'm really grateful to all of you who are out there and enjoy listening to our messages. So today we are talking about, one moment, oops. The April moon. So we are continuing our cycle as we've been talking about all of the beautiful moon phases this year. And I do not have my husband here this time. He's usually great at being able to show what these moons look like. This is again from Man in the Moon Metalworks. They've been creating all of our moons for us, and you'll be able to hear in just a moment what all of those symbols mean on there. The detail on each of these moons is just absolutely incredible. So one of the names that's most known for the April moon is the pink moon. What does that mean? I know our artist that creates these had wondered, how do I make a pink moon out of metalwork that's silver? Well, the term pink moon actually references back to one of the first types of flowers that tends to come up in the ground. Sometimes it's called pink moss. It's probably better known as phlox, which is kind of creeps along and it brings up that beautiful light pink color, or pink colored flower as we're just coming out from this ground of snow, or hopefully, you never know if we're still going to get any more snow or not, but probably that snow is all gone by now. But so it shows really the essence of springtime coming up and really starting. All of the spring flowers coming up kind of gives us that energy to get out of the house and to get motivated for renewing ourselves, really, in a way. It's also known as the worm moon because this is the time of year that the ground is starting to soften slowly as well. The worms are able to come out, creates that cycle of life with the birds, but we get all of that momentum going, the excitement up in the air with the birds, the movement with the worms under the ground, and a lot of other things in nature that are just starting to kind of awaken and bring that wonderful energy out. It's also called the egg moon sometimes, which of course can tie in. You can see where that correlates in with Easter and how they've brought eggs in. Eggs represent fertility. They also represent protection. I'll get into a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then along the coastal communities, a lot of the Native Americans would call it the fish moon because this is the time of year that the shad would come upstream and start to spawn. So lots of different moon names. There are many others that I'm not mentioning because all of the moon names that we use come from the various Indian tribes, the Native Americans that would pattern themselves based off of the moon and based off of nature, and they would look at what's going on around them to know what was represented in that time. Every single moon carries its own special, magical, wonderful energy. We've talked about each of the different moon phases in different broadcasts. I think we have 2 more of those to do. There are 8 main phases of the moon, but with the full moon, it's that full culmination of this energy. It's that where everything is heightened and you can take those aspects in and really use them to bring them into your life. So this moon is going to correlate in with how Easter is chosen also. This year specifically is very, very interesting because as we talked about when we switched it up to Ostara here, it was an exciting pivotal moment where we had the full moon right on Ostara. It was Ostara, which is the spring equinox when the light and the dark are in the most balance. That actually occurred on the 20th this year. It can occur anywhere between the 19th and the 22nd. And so because that occurred on the 20th, normally Easter is determined because it's the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. And so with it being that we had the full moon on the spring equinox on the 20th, why didn't we have Easter on March 25th? That would have been the first Sunday afterwards. Well, there was actually a little bit more of a caveat in there because the Christians, instead of celebrating the equinox as the actual time, which can vary, they made it a fixed date. So in their calendar, they said the 21st is what they consider the vernal equinox. So because this full moon happened the day before, instead we waited until the next full moon, which is why Easter came so much later this year compared to normal. Easter can actually occur anytime between March 22nd and April 25th. So we're right at the tail end of that here. And so it's really interesting. But because of that, we can really celebrate both of the energies of these moons. You can still bring in the energy, the magical essence of the raven moon, the crow moon that we just had celebrated at Ostara, and these incredible aspects of this pink moon, the spring flower moon, the sprouting grass moon is another name for it, and the balance of the equinox. You can tell in this, we'll put a picture of it down below where you can actually see the detail of it a little bit better, but you can tell within this that there's that yin-yang symbol. So the sprouting grass is on one side, the phlox are on the other side. That really represents the important essence of the fact that this moon comes right around the time of the equinox. This is a time of balance within our lives. This is that time of light and dark. It's the time to look in and explore the shadows within yourself so that you can learn from them, so that you can release them, so that you can bring in the light. This is the time that the sun is starting to return for those in the northern hemisphere, and that light is starting to come a little bit earlier every day. That's staying light a little bit longer every day. We have more time to get out and do things and explore, meet our neighbors, talk to our friends, get out and put action into what you're doing. Ostara, we talked about being the time where you're really planting more of those seeds. So we have the winter where you're planning, you're kind of hibernating, pulling within, looking at what motivates you, looking at what your dreams are, trying to figure out what direction you want to go. And then we open our doors, we open our windows at Ostara, and we start planting those seeds in the garden. And this moon is really appropriate, the fact that it came right after the vernal equinox, because it's the sprouting grass moon. So and the starting of the flowers too. So it really shows where you planted those seeds at Ostara. Now they're starting to sprout. If you go outside, you can see on the tips of the trees, the branches, the little tiny buds that are going to be huge leaves as we come down to this part of the year. And it's just so exciting to look at nature and see how you can make that part of who you are. Where are you in your journey? Are you just starting out with new aspects of your journey? Is it time to clear some things out, to release and let go of things as we're moving out of this winter phase? That's the time where we're really wanting to shed our winter coats. We're shedding our boots. We're shedding a lot of that extra weight that we have coming into the light that's really starting to increase now. So what do you want to let go of? What do you want to release so you can bring in and have the full space to create who you want to be, what you want to do with your life? This is the best time of year to have amazing transformations in your life. If you're wanting to head in a new direction, you couldn't ask for a better time of year because the light is on your side. It's time to clear the way. It's time to mend those relationships and release the hurt from the past, release any sorrow, sadness from the past, anything that's in those shadows within yourself, release them and let them go, and really feel that space that you're creating with yourself, and then fill it with what you want. Fill it with new knowledge, with new motivation, with new goals. All of those things that you have been planning here, now it's time to take action and really move it forward. I love the yin-yang symbol because truly it's always about balance. You can look in our archives from, I believe it was last year, where I talked about the Oak King and the Holly King at Ostara. We often hear about those over at Yule, but I talked about them at each of the cross-quarter days this last year in the story about how they were working to find balance with each other for the betterment of mankind. That might be a story that you want to look back on as we come into this wonderful time of year. So many, many, many different aspects with this moon. There's so many magical and wonderful aspects of this time of year. It's always kind of tickled me that this is how we set the date for Easter. A lot of times people lose touch with those roots, and we have a lot of great things coming up with Mother's Day coming up, a time not just to celebrate mothers, but to celebrate the divine feminine within your life, within yourself, whether you're male or female. We all have those aspects of the divine feminine. And so you're leading up as you're starting to plant those seeds at this holiday that's very much about fertility and rebirth and renewal. You're planting the seeds so you can start to honor in another month what you're starting to cultivate and percolate within yourself, what you're creating within yourself. I know I skipped around all over the place in my notes here, but in reality, this is just such a great time to really focus on bringing in the light and figuring out what you want that light to shine on within yourself. We can all manifest our destiny. We can all write and create our fate. It's about learning to and deciding consciously that you want to be the one that controls what happens in your life. We can't control all of the extraneous things that go on around us, but we can control ourselves. We can control our reaction, and then we can learn to harness the energy that's within us so we can draw to us whatever we want to draw to create the life that we want. Meditation is one of those great keys with this, and at this time of year it's really great to meditate in the first part of the morning. Ostara and Easter are both a lot about dawn. It's the fertility goddess Esther is where we got the name Easter from, and it's about really reclaiming that essence of creativity, creation, starting anew, and she was a goddess of the dawn. So it's great to really focus on bringing in that sun's light. This is the time where the sun is rising again, so if you face the east in the mornings and you meditate and you just feel like you're really bringing in that light of the sun, really focus on drawing it in. The chakra that would correlate with it would be the solar plexus. So focus on, while you're facing east in the morning, draw in the sun's energy right into your belly, the solar plexus. This is going to raise your confidence. This is going to clear out anything that feels like it's been weighted within your stomach, any of those decisions where you're just not sure which way to go, your stomach gets turned in knots. It's going to clear all of that out, drawing the light of the sun right into your belly. And then you can harness that energy throughout the year too. One of the things I like to do with meditation is really to focus on what I bring in. My season is winter. I love the snow. I love the winter. It's much more preferable to me than the sun, but that's opposite from a lot of people. So what I tend to do in the winter is I focus on drawing in all that beautiful snow energy and all the magic that I feel in the winter and putting it right in my stomach, and then as I need it during the summer, I'll just feel like I bring it out. I'll create my own snow within my world. You can do that with the sun, and if you're doing it with the sun, this is the best time to do it, because Ostara, it's really bringing that light, returning it, bringing that life to all of the plants and the trees and the animals and you. So really focus on bringing that in and filling up that energy within yourself. So if you're having a day that's a little bit more challenging, you feel a little bit down, or you just don't have the energy to get up and have the motivation you need, then you can use that meditation and remember where you stored the sun within yourself and open that light just within yourself. This is a really great time a very powerful time to manifest your destiny as you're shedding whatever no longer serves you. As I mentioned, shedding our winter coats and our boots on the physical level. Think about what you need to shed within your life mentally, emotionally, physically. Maybe you're wanting to shed weight physically. Maybe you're wanting to shed things. Maybe you have too many things in your house. Maybe it's attitudes that you need to shed. What is it within your thought process that's holding you back, that you need to change the way you think about things and shed? Let go of that weight, and then notice how much freer you feel in the process. So I had somebody I was talking to recently that was talking about how everybody told her she just needs to let it go. And whatever it was she was dealing with, she was very frustrated for about a year, where she felt like people had the easy answer of saying, let it go, just let it go and move on. And so she said, but how do you let it go? And she said most people could never answer, how do you let it go, whatever it is that's ailing you? There's a few things you can do to make that process a little bit easier. When I was taking martial arts, my instructor would tell me that you can work things out either physically, mentally, or emotionally. Sometimes it's easier to work it out physically, to have something tangible in front of you. We're all physical beings on this planet, so that might be the easier way to release and let go of what you're trying to let go of. The first thing is naming it, figuring out what it is you want to release. What do you need to let go of? What's holding you back. When you can name it, that's the first thing, because you're looking into that shadow aspect of yourself and figuring out what's holding you back. So many people will go through life and just feel a little bit frustrated or feel a little bit down, but they don't know what it is and they haven't named it. So that starts to bring your power back, just figuring out what it is you want to let go. And then, so naming it is the first aspect. Envisioning it, again, this goes back to meditation, or it can just be where you're in kind of a creative state within yourself, and you envision what's holding you back. Why is it holding you back? You might not know exactly why, but you know that you need to get rid of it. Pull it in, see how it feels. Whatever it is you want to let go of, it's already something that's in your life. So instead of running from it or hiding from it, pull it in, see how it feels. That's going to really help you to be motivated to want to let go of it and get rid of it. And then one of the things we like to do when we would do our full moon drumming circles, we would write down whatever you wanted to let go of and you burn it. Because then you're going to physically see whatever that is that you want to let go of going up in flames. And then and that's a great way to release it, because as that paper goes up in flames, and the smoke dissipates, it's really symbolic of the fact that you're releasing that weight. You're shedding it. You're letting the light take care of it, consume it, let it go. And then you can either you can bury the paper, or you can just bury the ashes. If you want to go all the way in with it and feel like you're really harnessing, taking control of your life, figure out what you want to let go of. Envision it, pull it in, write it on a paper, burn it, and bury the ashes. And know that as you do that, you've taken control of your life, you've released it, you've let it go. Anytime whatever it is starts to creep up, if it's an attitude or a thought process or whatever it is, if you start to notice bad habits coming back in, just remember the fact that you've given it back to Mom Gaia, to Mother Earth. It's being transformed. It'll be brought back as a loving energy, and you have the power within you to manifest your destiny. You can handle this. You've got this. You can let it go. And then once you do that, once you've let it burn out, you can just go within yourself and feel the space that you created, because you'll be able to go in kind of within your mind, just envision checking in with your body and noticing if you feel a little bit lighter. Often when you're envisioning whatever it is and pulling it in, you might feel like you feel heavier, and you'll feel lighter once you've burned it, once you've released it and let it go. Really take in, notice how you feel, and know that you're consciously releasing it. You're consciously lifting it up. And then once you feel that space that you created within yourself, fill yourself up with light. Again, the perfect time of year to do this, because you can feel that light of the sun, whether you're doing it at dawn, or if you're really not a morning person and you do it later in the day, or you want to do it under the full moon's light and really bring in just the power of the full moon. Fill yourself back up. Don't just leave it as a void within yourself. If you clear, release, and just leave it empty, then there's going to be something that comes in and fills that space. So take advantage fully of consciously filling yourself up with whatever you want to bring in to change that pattern within yourself, so you're creating the life of your dreams. And all of this really ties back in with the Anglo-Saxon goddess of the dawn, Esther. She was celebrated by villagers hundreds of years ago. They would hold a feast within the villages to honor her each spring, which is kind of how we do our Easter brunch now too. Celebrating that season of the resurrection is something that's been done in many, many different religions over many, many eons. And so she was one of them that really seems to tie in with Easter as a pagan standpoint. You can see more about Esther during last year's Ostara video. I know we talked a lot about the celebrations that they did, and we got really into the traditional aspect of it last year. But this is spring, so it's really great to really just take in knowing that this is the time of year to let go of whatever's weighing you down, whatever held you back. And then it's almost like you're doing a rebirth for yourself in a way, because you're clearing, you're shedding, you're letting go of whatever past hurts or ailments or whatever it is that you're needing to clear up. And you're choosing in this moment, in this hour, who you want to be, what you want to do, what direction you want your life to go. You might not know all of the details, and if you know that you don't know the details, you might prefer to just clear, release, let go, and fill yourself up with light, and ask the universe, ask your angels to fill you up with whatever is best for you to take these next steps on your journey, so that you are consciously, fully manifesting your own life. So take this time to cultivate what you want in life, filling yourself up, and also you're creating your own legacy. A lot of times people start to think about the legacy they're going to live when they get a little bit older in life, especially as people near death. They start thinking more about what legacy they want to leave. Well, in all honesty, you're creating your legacy every single day of your life. So if you start to consciously think about that now, what legacy do I want to leave? What do I want to leave behind after I'm gone? Imagine the life you can live 20, 40, 60 years down the road if every day you were thinking about that legacy and living the life that you would be proud of to leave a legacy behind. So celebrating the returning of the sun really ties in with that too. Today is the perfect day to really start consciously choosing what you want in your life. It's a time of overcoming your shadows, letting the light in, and learning to not run or hide from those shadows, but facing them, learning from them, not regretting any of it, knowing that it's all part of you. We all have many different things that are parts of our lives as we're coming into the time of learning who we can be, learning our potential. So knowing that everything that's happened in your life has happened for a reason, and that you can learn from it, that you can grow from it, and be proud of who you are and the fact that you're now taking those steps to be who you want to be in life. So the goddess Esther also had a symbol that really symbolized her and what she was, which was the rabbit. Again, ties in with Easter. The rabbit is a fertility symbol. She was a fertility goddess. Fertility doesn't just mean creating more people or animals. It actually means having that creativity within your life. So what do you want to be fertile in your life? Are you wanting more abundance? Are you wanting greater health? Are you wanting greater knowledge? Whatever it is that you want to multiply in your life, that's what we're talking with filling yourself up. One of the other symbols that would correlate with the goddess Esther was the eggs. Exchanging eggs is associated with new life, with fertility, and also protection. And there's a few things you can do today or in this coming week to really bring that energy in and also use that to manifest what you want in life. So you can color some of the eggs with your goals. If you're familiar with the chakra colors, dip the eggs in colors that correlate with the chakras that you want to work on, and maybe write symbols or write words on them that correlate with that. If you don't want to buy the whole egg dyeing kit, but you still want to work with eggs, it is already Easter today, and you might not have all of that at your disposal. If you have eggs in your refrigerator, you can just use a marker or a pen and write on it. Draw symbols that have meaning to you, or write the words that have meaning to you. Write on the outside of the egg, maybe using a Sharpie, what it is you want to bring into your life. Write some words that are very specific to what you want, and then make an omelet with those eggs. Then once you've made the omelet, take the shells and go bury them in your yard, and that's gonna one, add protection around the outside of your house by burying the shells, and two, it's gonna fertilize the earth around your house with what you just wrote on it, which is going to then enhance the goals that you wanted, help bring them into your life on a daily basis as we continue to progress through the wheel, coming up into summer where things are really starting to come up more. Some of the other symbols that have been used for eons, basically. Cakes and hot cross buns were an ancient tradition. When you're baking, one of the things I love to do when I'm baking is really putting full intention. And if you learn what different herbs and ingredients mean, you'll be able to see what ingredients you gravitate towards and what that means in your life. It's really kind of a fascinating thing to look into, but whether you look into that or not, make sure you're adding the love into it when you're baking or cooking, because everything that you're putting into that into the foods, that's something you're consuming. So if you know Reiki, put Reiki into your foods, especially Reiki or water, because it will really absorb all of that energy and flow it back into yourself. But whether you do Reiki or not, put your intention of what you're wanting into your foods and then eat it consciously and know that you're enhancing that energy even more. One of the other traditions that's been a long time thing with Easter was the parades. Those started in the villages, again referencing the video that we did last year where we talked about all of the things that the girls would do going through the villages and then bringing the rest of the full village, men and women, into it in the evening. It's a fascinating thing, but so that started, the parade started so long ago, and really parades symbolize not just the time of watching everything that's passing you by, but also getting out of your house, talking to people, meeting with people. This is a great time to go out and say hi to your neighbors, see how they did through the winter, and really make friends with other people. Spend time connecting with people that maybe you haven't connected with in a while, as long as it's people that are healthy to have in your life, that can lift you up, that you can help inspire as well. Connect with those people. Inspire yourself with that. And see what new things you can bring into your life as we come into this time of this beautiful rising sun. I hope you have enjoyed today's Life Talk. I hope this inspires you to do some things to start really creating what you want in life as we're moving in through pretty deep into this time of the planting season. We started a little bit of it back here at Imbolc. Now we're fully in it in Ostara. Know that all of those seeds you're planting right now is what you'll be eventually harvesting as we continue on through the year. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube, hit the like button on our Facebook page, and we will see you next week.